Fumble and Stumble. Hello and greetings. How do you do? I hope it's going great. If not, then I hope it's just fine as actual fine, or just fine as you can convince yourself that it's fine. Well, another version of fine I won't mention because it's little meany bit fickle because of using meds to actually continue to be and look fine to others. From my own perspective, it's sort of okay until it's not. But people tend to say, hey, life is about journey but not its destination. Even though this argument is right, and in recent years, I actually see that that it is in my mind as self-projection, but actually from my gained experience, which until so far gives me that feeling that life itself actually works like that. It from sidelines seems as journey. I kind of can get that when I self-reflect from what did I learn in my school, what skills I developed in university as programmer and afterwards as theology practitioner, what did I achieve in my internship, what my experience did give me in my first actual stable job, etc. I am sort of workaholic, so for now, as example, I only mentioned experience fields from work field environments. That journey prepared me for something by giving those situations and certain skills. Skills not like something as I now know how to program new applications. Skills not like something as very successful diploma for future career, but gave skills as understanding logical workflow of programming and how similarly think people behavior patterns. Skills as discerning things by questioning them by deeper meaning than just it is just right, and this is just wrong, and somehow what was right now is considered wrong, and otherwise with what was considered wrong now, somehow is right. In short, I can just say it for now, that these not in plain sight seen skills in thinking made me in a way wiser for myself, which somehow makes it more bearable to live on this rock, which we called Earth or other names. Still coping with this reality, but it's better now. Even though there are times when those supposedly uplifting go happy-go-lucky are tiring, but at least in recent decade, bit by bit I learned to enjoy things not like traditionally that you actually smile, but you develop that so-called inner smile, that it means that you are satisfied and more happy about you already have that other people try to convince otherwise, and forced to go over our inner values and limits. I hope I will write about this in future videos, because this video is more likely like tryout for me, as greenhorn first-timer as actual content creation. Either way, we each other know what to do with ourselves sooner or later, so what other people think what's fine or not is more likely for them. Everything has its own time and pace, even it seems that it never ends or never will end, that in your mind if you still have space for some kind of humor, you could think, oh boy, I can't wait things to go through. Just imagine as it was said by some oblivious anthropomorphic like mouse. Moving on, it's nice feeling that actually somebody clicked on this video, and I hope that I actually can share from my side in meaningful way. But before I start to share my story, please keep in mind that this video is for entertainment purposes only, as it's only my perspective and self-reflection monologue. It's not in any way professional opinion because I am not doctor of any kind. Please take things with grain of salt and seek professional help in your arena, if actually there is need to it, be it psychological or physical. Please take things with discretion, and I don't take responsibility if there happen to be some mishaps after watching this or other video in this channel. It's not like there should be any, but to be sure I give this warning that we are responsible about our own beliefs and actions. Thanks beforehand about your understanding. There was time when I was elementary school student, 5th grader, I guess. One day I was home. Don't really remember where my parents were, be it work or some buying stuff in city center or doing gardening to our remote garden, more like field where we planted vegetables for winter. But anyways, I was at home alone, finally free to do some stuff which I couldn't do on regular days because of doing chores or school homework. I was happy and somewhat bored in same time. So I was not really sure to what to do, play some video games, watch some anime, or watch some movie, or to do something else. There was idea to watch at that time new Batman movie with new awesome looking sounding Batman and Joker scenes. It was most likely The Dark Knight. I was already booting my computer on and searching in which website at that time I could watch it. But knowing that it was new movie at that time, I already guessed that there could only be links to low quality movie versions. On side note, I didn't have pocket money, so watching content on free sites was one of my leisure activities. Some little time goes by. I was quite engrossed in this process, already found some link for possible movie watching, and there was sudden bell ringing from the door. At that time, I lived in apartment, and it's always allowed to give some feeling of anxiety. By style and some time frame, how long was one bell's ringing sound? I could guess that whoever was there, they were not my parents, and of course they shouldn't be back home that fast. But I needed to answer to door, so that I wouldn't miss some important notice or something. I lived in apartment, and there were times when some people could come to check water counter. It happened few times. I was jumpy because of adrenaline, which spiked at that moment. I really never liked that feeling. After I checked entry door peephole, and noticed two strangers, I really felt and thought to myself that I didn't like and didn't want to open door. But it would be really impolite to pretend to not be home when they already know that someone from inside checked the door. So I opened door, and I was greeted by two men. As a kid, I never could grasp how people look old at certain age, but only could understand that one person was old and another pretty young, but not quite young. As an adult now, I think that probably one was closing to 60 years old, and younger one was something from 25 to 30 years old. Younger one asked me if my parents were at home and they wanted to talk about God. Don't know which type/congregation of Christianity they were, but now I can speculate that they could be Lutherans, because nearest church in city belonged to Lutherans. I responded that they weren't at home. One of men asked if they could return later at that day, trying to dodge unwanted attention from weird people. At that time, I wasn't religious, but knew enough what they wanted and talked about. I answered that my parents would be home really late. I was hoping that would be enough to bug them off. Generally speaking, nobody in my family wanted to participate religion because they were bothered by adult stuff as it is, so I needed to avoid to be the fool/dummy who always easily accepts things without considering others. But there was following question, which implied that they would like to contact them sometime back. For me as a child, that sounded like life threat, so I tried to make up assumption that my parents don't believe in God. But I believe. Hearing this, they were a little confused, but still before going away shortly introduced about God miracles, that human technology is inspired by nature. I passively agreed that could be right, and conversation ended and said each other goodbyes. At that time, I felt really bad that I felt cowardly and uneasy about that situation, and how I needed to come up with believable excuses to ward off unwanted people. But when I look back on it as an adult, I understand that I was just a kid, and there was no any kind responsibility of my side that I should feel ashamed or guilty about what or how things at time happened. Yes, it would be easier to say that we don't believe in God, and that they can have nice day, or we don't particularly have interest in that kind of activity. But in that way, I could be confronting stranger having bad mood afterwards, because for them at that moment, I could be considered some kind of impolite brat, and there would be some unnecessary, not very comforting answer. And for me as a kid who usually is easily influenced, it was quite risky. Yes, I could ignore everything and not respond to door at all. But then I could have risked probability of some kind of punishment from parents, that I didn't let them in on time, or that I didn't respond for some important apartment house related message, because sometimes neighbors could inform each other about some renovation or repair works, or that suddenly there won't be water supply for a day, or there are some changes for rent payment, etc. Yes, I could pretend that I don't care about that and give parent contacts for them to call them later, but afterwards, I would be scolded and reprimanded that I shouldn't let similar stuff happen next time, and listen to their moral story, which usually would went whole evening not paying mind to. That I had homework at that time, and yet again, I was one of those kids who always did things quite slow, and homework usually was finished shortly before midnight. On side note, probably this is one of reasons why I, as an adult, feel more productive at late hours, up to 2 a.m., and in the daytime, I can only do whatever it is expected to do without actual enthusiasm. But when the night comes and got my cup of black tea, I have random brainstorm ideas or some other sudden motivation which arises from deep slumber of daylight. Go figures. But anyways, I have patterns of night owl lifestyle, and it feels tormenting in a way to try adjust myself to daylight life. Okay, moving on. In the end, what I did was the best decision at that moment. And as an adult, I can calm my inner child version self. That situation was how it was. There were no bad nor good things. They were how they were, and that was actually fine, because from wider perspective there is no meaning to feel guilty. By surface level moral codes, when, as an adult, I can grasp actual human-like behavior as just normal nature-like. How to explain it? As humans we are considered only good by following our moral codes given by society. But in reality, there are many situations when those codes mostly are for better cooperation between humans itself, to cause less problems as possible. As a child, it seems like godlike rules to follow, because everybody are doing that, and adults reprimand in one or another way to follow those moral codes in question. Whereas, as an adult going through some kind of multiple mini-revelations, which sometimes are pretty major ones, in short multiple doses of those red pill realizations in different forms. For example, friends are humans too. So term friend is only a label for some defined time, some kind of symbiotic or codependent relationship, which isn't granted for life like it or not, or that recent decade days, multiple relationship advices and guidelines, which seems to be believable, are only scam to earn more money without consideration about people life quality, which comes after, and many more examples like previously mentioned. Those revelations about mundane daily things as an adult can seem really heavy-weighted and can cause depression from simpler to more complex levels. But when you somehow, with mindfulness, which can be developed from multiple meditation and / or spiritual practices, can perceive things out of this prism of definitions or stereotypes, base core for moral codes, which people use on their daily basis to accommodate things for their needs. With this mindfulness, can perceive things in more neutral way, which really helps to lower those cortisol, stress hormone levels and self-berating things and some self-destructive habits. I won't cover deeply it in this video, but I plan to gradually explain these things in next stories, be they related to this one or not. In short, what I wanted to say in this video, as a kid, I was uncertain about anything, and really though things by good and bad mindset, but as an adult by own experience and multiple ways to find answers to my own uncertainties, I can think in more neutral way, so-called gray area, which can help to calm my anxieties if I tell myself that as a kid, nothing really mattered in a way that I should still as an adult to self-persecute myself. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it finds you well. If not, then you can perceive it as random noise from background. If you fancy this video, please click like and subscribe for possible future appearances. Thanks beforehand and stay safe.